Welcome, fellow lovers of the weird and strange. This is Lance, your host of Legends of the Hidden Horde, where we explore the folklore behind the mythical creatures that stalk the dark corners of our globe. A huge thank you to all of you for tuning in. Your ears make these strange journeys possible. If you enjoy the show, please hit that subscribe button, leave me a quick review, and give me a follow on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, or X. Your support truly makes a difference. Now, let's dive into the next story. This story draws respectfully from the living oral traditions of multiple indigenous nations, including the Lakota, Cherokee, Muscogee, Seminole, Ponca, Omaha, Ojibwe, and others across the eastern woodlands and central plains. These accounts vary by teller, community, and era. Deer Woman is not a singular monster, but a complex guardian spirit whose role often centers on protecting the vulnerable, upholding balance, and warning against exploitation or the breaking of sacred taboos around consent, respect, and community harmony. She is sometimes linked to fertility and love, sometimes to vengeance, and sometimes appears in the dreams or at dances as a test or teacher. Modern retellings often connect her to broader themes of resilience amid historical trauma. What follows is a woven atmospheric narrative inspired by these sources, and told in the spirit of a fireside tale without claiming ownership of any specific nation's sacred stories. In the woodlands of what is now Oklahoma, where the tall pines of the old southeast meet the rolling grasslands of the plains, there are places where the mist clings low, even under a full moon. Travelers on back roads or hikers who stray from marked trails sometimes speak of a figure glimpsed between the trees. A woman of striking beauty, her long hair flowing like river water at dusk, her form graceful and inviting. She wears a dress that brushes the earth, and she dances alone or joins unseen at the edge of gatherings. Those who follow her too far rarely return, unchanged or at all. The elders of the Muscogee and Cherokee peoples, whose ancestors knew these fars intimately, tell of beings called the Nunehi, the people who live anywhere. These immortal spirit folk move between worlds, sometimes helpful, sometimes stern, enforcers of balance. In episode 37, we explore the one called Deer Woman, or Deer Lady. Her origin stories shift like moonlight on water. In one account common among southeastern peoples, she was once a mortal woman, violated and left for dead in the deep woods. A fawn lay beside her as she passed, refusing to abandon her solitude. The spirits, or the deer themselves, or the Nunehi, heard her final plea for justice against those who prey on the innocent. They granted her new form, the upper body of a woman, the sure hooves and swift legs of the white-tailed deer, and in some visions, the proud antlers of a guardian. She rose not as a monster of blind rage, but as a precise instrument of reckoning. Those who had harmed women and children would now be lured by the very beauty they had once coveted, only to discover too late the cloven feet hidden behind her skirt and the unyielding justice in her eyes. Far to the north and west among the Lakota, she is known in one manifestation as the Sente Sapelawin, black-tailed deer woman, or a face of the complex being Anuketi, double-faced woman. Her deeper story ties to creation. Ite, daughter of the first man and woman, whose beauty and ambition led her through the trickster Inktomi into conflict with cosmic order. Cast down, half her face became shadowed. She became Anukite. As Sente Sapelawin, she appears in dreams or visions, sometimes as one deer, sometimes two, white-tailed and black-tailed, testing the hearts of those who encounter her. Men who pursue inappropriate or harmful relations may be driven into madness or worse. Women who dream of her may awaken with new strength, artistic power, or clarity, provided they choose wisely in the waking world. Other tellings ripple through the traditions, Not every encounter ends in death. Some men recognize the hoofs in time, or heeding an inner warning, turn back and carry only a haunting memory that changes their path forever. A lesson rather than a sentence. In certain plains and Oklahoma tellings, she may simply cause the reckless or girl-crazy young man to pine away from an impossible longing, or a wasting sickness of the spirit. She is said to love dancing and may appear at powwows, stomp dances, or communal gatherings. Her presence unnoticed until the drums stop and she vanishes into the night with one who has shown poor character. In these moments, she acts less as executioner and more as a weaver of consequences, upholding the social fabric by discouraging actions that fracture families and communities. Geographic threads run deep. Strongest associations cluster in the eastern woodlands and central plains, forests of the southeast where Cherokee and Muscogee roots run ancient, the tall grass and riverlands of the Ponca and Omaha, the northern woodlands of the Ojibwe, and the open country of the Lakota. After the Trail of Tears and other removals, many of these stories concentrated in what became Oklahoma, where relocated nations carried and adapted their teachings. Whispers of similar guardians or temptress figures echo further into Pacific Northwest accounts or broader shape-shifting lore. But the core deer woman remains tied to these heartlands of deer-rich forests and prairies. Sightings or stories persist today in rural Oklahoma backroads, near old stomp grounds, or in dreams reported by those connected to these lineages. Consider a night in the misty Ozark foothills bordering the old plains, where a lone traveler, say a modern man restless with his own unchecked appetites, pulls off a quiet highway. The air smells of pine resin and damp earth. Moonlight filters silver through the canopy. He hears soft laughter or the faint rhythm of distant drums. There she stands at the tree line, tall, poised, her skin glowing faintly like birch bark under moonlight, eyes deep and knowing. Her dress sways as if stirred by an unfelt breeze. She smiles, not coyly, but with ancient patience, and extends a hand toward a narrow path widening deep into the trees. He follows. The path grows narrower. Twigs snap under his boots, but her steps make no sound. He glimpses something odd in the moonlight. The hem of her dress lifts for an instant on a root, revealing not a shoe or bare foot, but the cloven, furred hoof of a deer. A chill races up his spine, yet desire and curiosity war with it. The forest seems to close in. Whispers rise, not wind, but voices of women long gone, or the rustle of countless deer moving just out of sight. She leads him to a small clearing where moonlight pools like water. There, the air thickens. Her form shifts subtly, antlers branching like living wood from her brow in some visions, or her eyes reflecting the deer's liquid intelligence. The ground trembles with the memory of trampling hoofs. In that moment, recognition or denial decides the tale's end. If he sees truly and turns away with respect, acknowledging the boundary crossed, he may escape with only a lifelong cautionary dream and a changed heart. If he presses forward, blind to the warnings, the forest itself seems to rise against him. Some accounts say she tramples the offender, others that he is simply never seen again, claimed by the Nunehi realm or lost to his own unraveling mind. The deer of the woods bear witness, their eyes reflecting the same moonlight. In some Oklahoma tellings, she is less a transformed victim and more a eternal spirit who grows sterner with each generation that forgets the old respect. She may appear to disobedient children as a boogeyman warning, or to women as a source of quiet strength. She is never portrayed as random evil. Her actions sever equilibrium. To harm the vulnerable is to ignite the guardian who cannot be bought or bargained with once the line is crossed. The deer woman stands as a profound mirror to the human heart in the living world. She teaches that desire without respect becomes a path into the mist from which one may not return whole. She reminds us that the feminine, whether in women, in the earth that nurtures us, or in the spirits that guard, carries an ancient authority that exploitation awakens at great peril. Her lessons echo across generations. Consent is sacred. Boundaries protect the vulnerable. True power lies in harmony with the unseen forces that sustain life, not in domination over them. Communities thrive when taboos around harm are honored. They fracture when ignored. Looking forward, as humanity faces accelerated disconnection from nature, one another, and ancestral wisdom, the Deer Woman's presence in story offers urgent medicine. She calls us to accountability in all relations, with each other across genders and cultures, with the lands we walk, and with the spiritual realities many have forgotten. In an era where technology amplifies both connection and predation, her archetype warns the unseen reckoning awaits those who treat people or the planet as resources to consume. Yet she also offers hope. Recognition and turning back remain possible. Indigenous knowledge keepers continue to carry these stories forward, inviting all who listen with respect to reclaim balance, reverence, and the wild wisdom that cannot be tamed. To heed her is to remember we are not the center of creation. We are participants in a vast, watchful web, reminding us to walk the forest with eyes open to what truly moves between the trees. That's it for the story of the Deer Woman. If you enjoyed it, please hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcast app. Give me a follow on social media. And until next time, keep those eyes open. You never know what might be lurking in the shadows.